we will discuss the general provisions of obligations, Articles 1156 to 1163. First, let's discuss Article 1156. This article defines what an obligation is. So according to Article 1156, an obligation is a juridical necessity to give, to do, or not to do. So if you're asked, class, what is an obligation under the law? You provide this definition based on Article 1156. Based on the definition provided by Article 1156, that an obligation is a juridical necessity to give, to do or not to do, we can dissect the said provision into four major parts. So we have juridical necessity. These are the keywords, okay? We have to give, to do, or not to do. So what do we mean by juridical necessity? When we say juridical necessity, class, if two persons, let's just say A and B, entered into an agreement whereby A is to sing for B and B is to pay, let's say, 50,000 pesos to A. No? A is to sing for B on B's birthday, during the birthday of B. Now, si A nikanta na sa birthday ni B. So, A's obligation there has already been complied with. How about B? What is the obligation of B? The obligation of B is to pay A 50,000 pesos. Kaya nikanta siya sa birthday ni B. Then, question. What is now juridical necessity based on that example? Where would it come in? How will it enter the scenario? Unsang pasabot sa juridical necessity? It means that in case B will not pay A 50,000 pesos, A can always enforce an action against B. A can always go to court, class. Ireklamo si B, kasuhan si B, na pabayro ng 50,000 pesos. So that is the definition, the meaning of juridical necessity. That in case of non-compliance by the guilty party is the person, the party who did not comply with his or her obligation. In our example, the guilty party is B. So in case the guilty party does not comply with his obligation, the innocent party in our example is A, the one who has already complied with his obligation but not yet paid. So the innocent party can always enforce an action against the guilty party. The innocent party can always go to court for remedy. That's the meaning of juridical necessity. Then we have to give. To give meaning maghatag, to give something. So in our example, the obligation of B is to give 50,000 pesos to A as payment for his services. Kaya nikanta siya. To do. The obligation here of A is to sing, not to render a service, to do something, to perform. So to sing, that is to do. Or not to do. Let's just say not to sing. Bayaran ta ka 50,000 provided that you will not sing, you will not dance during my birthday party. So that is the definition of an obligation. It's a juridical necessity to give, to do, or not to do. Here the two kinds of obligations as to subject matter. So we have the real obligation and the personal obligation. When we say real obligation, the obligation here of the party is to give something. Remember, class, the definition of obligation, juridical necessity to give, to do, or not to do. So, kanang to give, ang tawag ana real obligation if the obligation is to give something. But if the obligation, class, is to do, katong kay A, which is to sing, or not to do, kabaliktaran sa to do, then we call that personal obligation. So that's the difference between a real obligation and personal obligation. If you will be asked, differentiate the two. Simple lang. In real obligation, the obligation is to give. In personal obligation, the obligation is to do or not to do. In our previous example, A is to sing for B, and B is to pay 50,000 to A. So the obligation of A is to do, which is to sing. The obligation of B is to give, which is to pay 50,000 pesos. Here are the essential elements or requisites of an obligation. We have 4 requisites. Without these 4, there can be no obligation class. Lacking one will not make an agreement, or let's say, an agreement, an obligation. So, kailangan kompleto sila. May passive subject, may active subject, object or prestation, and lastly, juridical or legal tie. So these 4 elements should be present. Otherwise, there's no obligation to speak of in the first place. Okay? So the debtor is the passive subject, ang nangutang, ang utangan, ang person who has not yet complied with his obligation. Like for example, in our example, no? A is to sing for B and B is to pay 50,000 to A. Nakasing na si A, si B ang utangan og 50,000 pesos. So kinsa ang debtor? Ang utangan ng 50,000. Ang passive subject is B. Kinsa ang creditor? Ang naay right to collect. So ang naay right to collect 50,000 is A. So active subject si A. Then we have object or prestation, that's the subject matter. So in that example, the obligation of B is to give 50,000 pesos. So what is the subject matter? 50,000 pesos. Money. Money ang subject matter, worth 50,000 pesos. When you say juridical or legal tie class, that's the efficient cost. That's the reason why there is an obligation. So, unsay rason nga nung naay utang nga 50,000 si B kay A? It's because of the agreement entered into by A and B. And what's that agreement? The agreement is for A to sing and for B to pay 50,000 pesos. So, dapat naay rason, naay basihan nga nung obligado ang usa ka party, ang usa ka person to comply. Okay, so these are the essential requisites of an obligation. Let's have more examples. Okay, A borrowed 5,000 pesos from B. So, nagborrow, utangan si A kay B ng 5,000 pesos. Who is the passive subject or the debtor ang nangutang? It's A. Who is the active subject ang giutangan? Meaning ang may right to collect? Si B. What's the prestation? The money, which is 5,000 pesos. What's the juridical tie here? It's because A borrowed 5,000 from B. There was an agreement between the two. There was a contract of loan. No? Loan, utang. That's the juridical tie. And that gives A the right, B the right to collect from A 5,000 pesos. Another example, A paid 5,000 to B. A paid B 5,000 to dance on A's birthday party next month. So meaning, prepaid siya. A has already paid 5,000 to B. And what's the obligation here? Si B, which is to dance on the birthday party of A next month. Okay, number 1 question. Who's the passive subject? Is it A or is it B? Kinsang utangan? Kinsang napay obligasyon? Here, A has already complied with his obligation. Kay si A nakabayad na ng 5,000. So, kinsang wala pa nakakomply sa iyong obligation here, it's B. Which is to what? To do. To dance on A's birthday party next month. So, the passive subject is B. And the active subject is A. Kinsang naay right? Naay right to ask B to dance. Si A. So A is the active subject. A has already complied with his obligation. What's the prestation here? Is it to give 5,000? No. The existing prestation is to dance. So the prestation here, the subject matter, is to do, to dance. And that is the obligation of A. And what is the juridical tie? The juridical tie here is the reason behind the obligation of A to dance. And that's the agreement entered into by A and B, wherein B is to dance on A's birthday party next month. Let's go to the sources of obligation. That's Article 1157. So obligations arise from law, contracts, quasi-contracts, acts or omissions punished by law, and quasi-delicts. So class, in other words, maupod ni ang basihan nganong naay obligasyon. So we can say that this would pertain to the juridical tie or the legal tie, no? Unsang basis nganong naay obligation? Like the agreement entered into by A and B whereby A borrowed 5,000 from B, that was a contract of loan. Naay kontrata because a contract is an agreement between the parties. So ang agreement nila dito mangutang sa A ng 5,000 kay B. So ang legal tie, remember, ang prestige, ang juridical tie dito is the agreement between A and B, the contract of loan between A and B. So that contract class, nasa sa number 2 of Article 1157. The reason nga nung naay obligasyon si B to pay A 5,000, it's because of the contract of loan entered into by A and B. Okay, let's discuss each of the sources no, under 1157. 1158 provides that obligations derived from law are not presumed. Remember, law is one of the sources of obligation under 1157, and this is further discussed under Article 1158. So again, according to Article 1158, obligations derived from law are not presumed. Only those expressly determined in this code or in special laws are demandable and shall be regulated by the precepts of the law which establishes them, and as to what has not been foreseen by the provisions of this book. So in other words, if the law is the basis or the source of obligation, it is not presumed. You cannot assume. There must be an express stipulation. It is not implicit, rather it is explicit. So dapat naibalaod nga nag-ingon nga ikaw obligado ka to do something or to give something. An example of this is the taxation law, the tax code of the Philippines, because according to the tax code, the taxpayer should pay his or her tax due. So like for example, if you're into business and you're a corporation, you are manufacturing face masks. So, corporation, you have to pay for your income tax. Then that payment of income tax class, that obligation on your part to pay income tax is based on the tax code. It is expressly imposed by the tax code that the businesses, the corporations should pay their income taxes. So class, remember, if it is based on the law, the obligation is not presumed. It must be expressly stipulated, expressly imposed by the law. So in our example, the tax code expressly requires the business entities, the taxpayers, to pay their income taxes. If wala nag-mention ang tax code sa payment ng income tax, then there's nothing to pay. No? You are not obliged to pay. So for example, wala sa balaod nga magpa-party ka pag mag-birthday sa barangay, no? Na dapat ang mga barangay captains pag mag-birthday i-hold ang birthday party sa barangay hall. That's not stipulated, that's not imposed by the law. So, walay basis on your part. Di ka mayon obligado manggod ko na mag-birthday ko sa barangay hall. No, you are not obliged. Why? There is no law telling you or requiring you to conduct parties, birthday parties, in the barangay hall. Let's now proceed with the second source of an obligation, which are contracts. So this is provided under Article 1159. So obligations arising from contracts have the force of law between the contracting parties and should be complied with in good faith. So we have here meeting of the minds or stipulations of the parties. In other words, there's an agreement between the parties. Nagkasinabot ang parties. Like in our example, A borrowed 5,000 from B. So dapat si B mobayad kay, si A mobayad kay B because A borrowed 5,000 from B to be paid on, let's say, June 1, 2022. So there is an agreement between A and B that A will borrow 5,000 from B and then A will pay B 5,000 pesos on June 1, 2022. In class, the obligations arising from contracts have the force of law between them, meaning mao nang ilang sundon, no? Naay force of law pasabot na ay basis ang ilahang obligations because these obligations have the force of law between the parties and such must be complied with in good faith, provided class that the stipulations of the parties must not be contrary to law, to morals, to good customs, to public order, and public policy. Kasi if it is contrary to law, morals, good customs, public order, and public policy, then such stipulations are void. They are not valid. Hence, the agreement between the parties, the contract entered into by the parties, is void. Dili siya valid. Like for example, A borrowed 5,000 from B. Okay? And then, unsa maibayad ni A kay B? Not 5,000. Hindi kwarta. Unsa ilang sabot? Si A will pay B shabu worth 5,000 pesos on June 1, 2022. Kanang shabu dira, that is contrary to law. Diba? Bawal ang drugs. That's against the law. So with that agreement class, that contract between A and B is void. It's not valid because their agreement was contrary to law. Okay? Another source of obligation, we have quasi-contracts. So under Article 1160, obligations derived from quasi-contracts shall be subject to the provisions of Chapter 1, Title 17 of this book. So what do we mean by quasi-contract? So as defined, quasi-contract is the juridical relation resulting from what acts? We have lawful, voluntary, and unilateral acts, by virtue of which the parties become bound to each other to the end that no one will be unjustly enriched or benefited at the expense of another. So here the principle under quasi-contracts class is this: no one shall be unjustly enriched at the expense of another. the acts here involved must be lawful. It must be voluntary, wala siya gisugo. And unilateral, iyaha jud mismo. Act, isa lang ka party ang perform ng act or nag-give something or nag-do or not to do na obligations. Okay, for example, this is the example here. We have the kinds of quasi-contracts first before I discuss with you the examples. Kasi ang examples will be given to you, will be discussed to you under each kind of quasi-contracts. These are the kinds of quasi-contracts. Two kinds, the negotium gestio and the solutio indebiti. Let's define each. Let's discuss each of them. Let's differentiate the two. Okay? We have here negotium gestio. So this pertains to the voluntary management of the property or affairs of another without the knowledge or consent of the latter. So the example here is pahiro-hiro pakialameram palaka. For example, so si A ug si B, they are neighbors. And then si A, na-crush kay B. Okay, na-crush kay B si A. And then, si A na-crush kay B. Okay. And then si B, nagbakasyon. Asa? Niyato siya og China. Okay, nagbakasyon sa China si B. And then, while B was on vacation, nasunog ang pikas balay na tapad ni B. So si A, kay na-crush kay B, A was of course concerned, no? Of the house of B kay walay tao. And also, naisip po ni A, additional pogi points on the part of A. If tabangan niya i-save ang balay ni B from that fire. So you know what A did? Gikat-kat niya ang gate sa balay ni B. And then, sige aw-aw ang iro ni B. Isa lang siya nabilin. I-save ni A ang iro ni B. And also, nakita ni A, nasa sulod sa balay ang flat screen na TV, sofa, and other mga furnitures, no? Other things inside the house. Na mga mahalon. So, sa gibuhat ni A, giguba niya ang door. Kasi nakalock. Giguba niya ang door, trying to save the properties of B. Trying to save the TV, the refrigerator, the sofa. So, iyang giisa-isa pag alsa going out of the house. Kasi, A was thinking, kung masave na ko ni, dili masunog iyang mga gamit, at least, di ba, magpasalamat pa siya sa kuha. Basig sugto na ko ni ni B, rather. A was thinking that way. And then, ang fire, wala radi ay niabot sa balay ni B. So, napalong. Pero damage na. Na-damage na ang pultahan ni B. Ang TV, sa pagdali-dali pag-save ni A, na-crack ang gilid, no? And also si A, kay nikat-kat man siya sa gate, sa balay ni B, nasamuran po si A. So, A suffered injuries. Samaran siya. Pagkat-kat, nahulog pa siya from the gate. Pagkat-kat. So, na siya'y samad, and then, nabunog ang iyahang body. Now, nibuli na si B from China. And then, when B learned about the incident, na-shock. And also, nasuko siya. Kaya naguba ang iyang balay, naguba ang door, and then ang TV na crack, and gubot kayo ang sala. Because si A, gikarga niya mga gamit. Karon si A, when B came from that vacation, A asked from B, no, for his medical expenses. Ana si A, medical ko, nagpa-hospital ko because I suffered injuries sa kuang tiil, nasamran ko. You have to pay me. Akong nabayaran tanan 10,000 pesos. So B, you have to pay me. Okay, B? Ingon po si B. Why do I have to pay you? Giingnan bata ka? Nga musulod sa akong balay, giingnan bata ka nga i-save ang akong iro, i-save ang akong TV, nabuak pa dyan yung TV, gisugo bata ka, nakatkaton ang gate, gubo na nga ko ang pultahan, ikaw mga dapat magbayad because na-damage, no, ang akong balay. So nga nung kailangan pa man ako magbayad sa imuhang medical expenses. So class, that's the question here between negotiatorium gesture. Dapat ba mabayad si B kay A for A's medical expenses? Or in other words, can A recover from B? Can A recover from B? That's the question. Can A recover from B, let's say, 10,000 pesos nga medical expenses? So the answer here is, of course, yes. Because remember, class, the principle under quasi-contracts and negotiatorium gesture is a kind of quasi-contract. What's the principle? No one shall be unjustly enriched at the expense of another. So in that example, if dili mo bayad si B kay A, kinsay logi si A, kay nitabang naman gani siya kay B, di pa jud siya bayaran or reimburse sa iyahang medical expenses. Why? Kaya kung dili siya bayaran, kinsa man ang enriched, unjustly enriched, it's B. Nakabenepisyo siya. Kay what if di ay nasunog iyang balay? No? At least sa effort ni A, na-save ang TV, na-save ang iro. Diba? Kaya nasunog lang man, not the entire house. Naalang sa gilid, hapit na, diba? Hapit na ang fire. Pero wala jud ni abot sa balay ni B. Pero what if di ay niabot? Let's just say, niabot ang fire sa balay ni B. Nasunog, partly ang balay. But because of the efforts of A, na-save ang mga appliances. And if it was not because of A, sunog po ang appliances. Let's just say, ingana ang nahitabo. So, unjustly enriched si B at the expense of A. So, yung unang balaod, no one shall be unjustly enriched at the expense of another. So, ikaw, bulahan mang kabi na save ang imuhang appliances, wala na sunog, because of A, i-reimburse si A sa iyahang medical expenses. That is negotiatorium gesture. No? That's the voluntary management. Voluntary ang gibuhat ni A. Lawful ba? Yes. Lawful ba mutabang sa nasunugan? Yes. Voluntary ba? Yes. Wala siya gisugo ni B. Unilateral ba? Meaning, iyahang kaugalingon act? Isa lang siya? Yes. Kaya, pasok sa negotiatorium gesture. So, again, B has the obligation to reimburse A of his medical expenses. Kind of quasi-contract is solutio indebiti. Under solutio indebiti, the person has no right to receive the thing delivered and that the thing was delivered through mistake. For example, A borrowed 5,000 from B to be paid on June 1, 2022. What if si A very excited to pay kay nakakwarta, nakadaog sa online sabong? Before June 1, let's say May 30, no? May 30, A already paid B 5,000 pesos. Karon niabot na ang June 1. Nakalimot si A nga nakabayad na di siya kay B. Naningin si B, pagbayad na. Nan si A, sige magbayad di ko 5,000 utang. So doble na. Nagbayad na si A ng 5,000 May 30. Nagbayad na po si A ng another 5,000 June 1. Pag-abot ng June 2, A remembered, hala, doble naman di akong bayad kay B, nakabayad naman di ako 5,000 May 30. So A went to B, asking for the 5,000 na sobra nga nabayad. So question, can A recover the excess 5,000? That's the question now. Can A recover the 5,000 from B? Sobra nga 5,000? The answer is yes. Why? Because B has no right to receive the additional 5,000. Kay bayad naman siya by May 30. And the thing, the 5,000 was delivered through mistake. Nakalimot manggod si A na bayad na diay siya. That was an honest mistake. That's why, under this principle, again, remember, no person shall be unjustly enriched at the expense of another. So, kung dili makuha ni A ang 5,000 nga additional from B, then, kinsay logi? Si A. Kinsa ang unjustly enriched? Si B. So, si mahitabo, luoy si A. So, under the law, B has the obligation to return to A the additional 5,000 pesos. So, I guess by now, you can differentiate negotiatorium gesture from solutio indebiti. Negotiatorium gesture, remember, there's a lawful, voluntary, and unilateral act, no? And then, the other person is unjustly benefited because of that act. However, solutio indebiti, there was a mistake. The other person has no right to receive the thing because of that mistake. So in both cases, always remember the principle that no person shall be unjustly enriched at the expense of another. So you give who won what is due to who won. Okay, that's quasi-contract. Source of obligation, we have acts or omissions punished by law. In other words, crimes. So crimes pertain to the acts or the omissions punished by law. Katong gibuhat sa katao nga punished by law, or katong wala gibuhat sa tao and because of that, punishable by law also. So those acts or omissions, they are considered crimes so long as they are punishable by law, meaning there's a law punishing them. Kung walay balaod, walay crime pod in the first place. So for example, rape. Kung walay balaod na ang rape is a crime, then it's not a crime. But because there's a law punishing such act, then rape is a crime. So here, under 1161, we are talking about the civil liability arising from crimes or delicts. Other terms sa crimes, delicts, okay? So we are dealing with civil liability arising from crimes. Kasi every person criminally liable is also civilly liable. Okay? Also civilly liable. So like for example, murder, nakapatay kang tao. So the murder has two aspects, the criminal aspect and the civil aspect. So ang criminal aspect niya, mapriso ka. There's imprisonment. Oh, let's say 12 years imprisonment, 20 years imprisonment. What's the civil liability? Danyos na ang civil liability dira. Aside from imprisonment, mapriso ka, magbayad pa jud kag danyos. To whom? To the victims. If the victim class is already dead, to the family of the victim. So magbayad kag moral damages. Why? Because of what you did. Because of killing that person. Ang iyahang family naka-suffer ng moral, no? Moral sufferings. So, ang moral sufferings, bayaran na nimo by way of moral damages. So, pabayaran ka sa court. Okay? Or exemplary damages, meaning exemplary pasabot, dili ka wala ka nag-lead by example, di ka dapat tularan. So, by that, we have exemplary damages. Danyos na po na, pabayro na po ka na sa court. Munang pasabot class sa civilly liable, meaning the civil liability arises from your criminal liability. And that criminal liability is because of the crime that you committed. Kung wala kay gi-commit na crime, wala kay criminal liability. Kung wala kay criminal liability, wala po itong imong civil liability. Okay? So, another example is theft, kanang pagpangawat. Nangawat ka og cellphone. So, theft is a crime. No? Mapriso ka at the same time na kay civil liability. And what's your civil liability? Papayrong ka sa court. Sa mga danyos. Ang court ang mag-issue ng order for that. So, the civil liability class includes three forms, which will be discussed later. The civil liability includes these three. We have restitution, reparation for the damage caused, and indemnification for consequential damages. Let's go back to our example katong theft, pagpangawat. So aside from the criminal liability, your civil liability is this. Mauning tulo. Number 1, restitution, pasabot, ibalik ang imong gikawat. To return. That's restitution. What if, ma'am, nawala na, nabaligyan na po na ako. Di na ako mabalik ang akong gikawat. Then we have here reparation for the damage caused. Pabayron ka sa cost ng cellphone. Let's say ang cellphone yung magkikawat worth 20,000, you pay for 20,000. That's your civil liability. That's your obligation. And your obligation, what's the source of your obligation? The crime that you committed. And what is that crime? Theft, pagpangawat. And you will also be ordered by the court to what? To indemnify the victim. Bayaran nimong victim for damages. What if pagkawala sa cellphone, wa siya katulog, nag-anxiety siya, so you have to pay for moral damages. Okay, is that clear? So, civil liability includes restitution, reparation for the damage caused, and indemnification for consequential damages. So, make sure that the civil liability arises from the crime that you committed. If there's no crime committed, wala po kay civil liability on that act. No? What if nisayaw ka sa barangay hall, nisayaw lang ka. Wala may crime walay crime committed in that act. So kung walay crime, walay po kay civil liability based on that crime. Kay nisayaw lang man ka, wa man ka naghubo dito, nitindog ka tapad sa poste. Is that a crime? Is there a law punishing that act? None. So, wala po civil liability based on that act because in the first place, the act is not considered a crime. Last source of an obligation, we have quasi-delicts. That's under Article 1162. 62, not 1163. It's 1162. Okay, so the obligations derived from quasi-delicts shall be governed by the provisions of Chapter 2, Title 17 of this book, and by the special laws. Okay, this provision provides us the obligations arising from quasi-delicts or torts. Ang sabang difference ng crime or delicts sa quasi-delicts? Ang quasi, murag crime pero dili. Kasi class, ang crime, there's a criminal intent. Kituyo. Ang pag-rape, kituyo. Ang pagkawat, kituyo. That's theft. The examples that we have. Ang quasi-delicts class, wala siya gituyo. Kaya, dili no criminal intent. So, pasabot, fault or negligence lang siya. Nagtinanga. And remember class, ang imong katangahan still na consequence, no? And you have to answer for these consequences. Okay. So, quasi-delicts. Unsay pasabot sa quasi-delicts? So, under the law, a quasi-delict is an act or omission by a person which causes damage to another in his person, property, or rights, giving rise to an obligation to pay for the damage done, there being fault or negligence, but remember this, there is no pre-existing contractual relation between the parties. So under quasi-delicts, we have these keywords: act or omission, fault or negligence. There's a damage caused because of that act or omission. And there is a direct relation of cause and effect between the act and the damage. And class, lastly, there is no pre-existing contract between the parties involved. So let's have an example. B accidentally hit A with his racket while both of them are playing badminton, leaving A with a black eye. Okay, let's answer the following questions based on the definition of quasi-delict. Pag matubag nato ni siya nga swak sa quasi-delict, then there is an obligation arising from quasi-delict, hence the party should comply with that obligation. Okay, number 1, is there an act or omission? There is an act. Unsa ang act? B accidentally hit A with his racket. That's the act, no? Committed by B in this example. Was there fault or negligence? Yes, accidentally. Wala gituyo, kaya negligence lang. Kasi class, kung gituyo na niya, B intentionally hit A with his racket, that's already a crime. So kung na-injure si A, physical injuries na. But in this case, dili siya crime because wala siya gituyo, no? Was there damage caused? Yes, unsa man ang damage? Nagka-black eye si A. Now, was there a direct relation between the act and the damage? Yes, because of B's act of accidentally hitting A with his racket, A had a black eye. So, was there a direct relation? Of course. Kaya kung wala to gibuhat ni B, walay black eye si A. Last question. Is there a pre-existing contract between them? Nagsabot ba sila na hoy B ha? Pag or A, magsabot ang duha. In case na makaigo ta accidentally sa isa't isa, mubayad ang makaigo ha? Na ba sila isabot na yung ana? None. There's no pre-existing contract between them. So in other words, class, safe ta under the law, protected ta. Why? Because even there's no existing contract, there's no existing agreement or prior agreement between the parties nga in case may aksidente, wala gituyo, manubag ang nakasala. Still, class, without that agreement, protected ta under the law because of this quasi-delict. No? So here, B was the reason why A had a black eye, so B has the obligation, no, to pay for A for his medical expenses. So na siya obligation si B. And the obligation of B is based on what? What's the juridical tie? What's the source of obligation of B? Quasi-delict. Okay? So class, those are the general provisions of obligations, Articles 1156 to 1162. Thank you.